The SEO leaders meet is underway. You can see the visuals on your right now. Chinese President Xi Jinping is currently addressing the leaders. But what has grabbed everybody's eyeballs is the conversation that the three leaders, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin had just before the SEO meet started. While Xi Jinping was welcoming the leaders at the venue, there was this quick chat between the three leaders. We're constantly showing you the visuals that has grabbed eyeballs and is also going to send out a strong message. Now, these are the powerful visuals that everybody was waiting for since the SEO summit started. These are the visuals that were much anticipated. And remember, this comes just before the big bilateral between India and Russia. Gaurav continues to stay with us. Gaurav, can this be seen just as a trailer right before the big bilateral between India and Russia today?
The India-Russia bilateral promises to be a very positive one, is what sources are telling India today. It's a very significant meeting. Whenever Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President Vladimir Putin meet, there's something positive that emerges from it. They have great personal chemistry, a great personal bond. They're two very strong leaders and two very strong leaders who respect and trust each other. In fact, there are Russian analysts who say there are very few people the Russian president trusts, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is one of those who he implicitly trusts and respects. This is something that I'd also heard, when we traveled to Tokyo in 2014. Then Prime Minister late Shinzo Abe, only three leaders he followed internationally on social media platforms, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is one person he trusted a lot. And that trust actually has transformed into India, Japan, being very close, trusted, friends. Prime Minister, before he came to China, he spent time in Japan. And that leg of his meeting, according to sources, has been extremely significant. There is a big economic cooperation agreement, investment of more than $60 billion in India. There is movement of skilled and semi-skilled labor from India to Japan, and Japan needs a lot of manpower. Given a lot of effort needs to be put in. One, their population is on the decline. Two, they need skilled manpower that they can trust. Excuse me. With Japan trusting people who comes into their society, who comes into their territory, and whether they will contribute positively to Japan's economy, to their society, to their state, that's very important. And they trust India, they trust Indians. So that movement of skilled and semi-skilled labor is big. The space cooperation, science and technology cooperation, cooperation in the field of electronics, strategic cooperation, military cooperation, shipbuilding cooperation, all of that is huge between India and Japan. The Prime Minister going to Japan and then coming to China sends out another message at a strategic level. So overall, when you see India's diplomacy, and India is playing this its cards very effectively to ensure, one, we do not want to alienate the West. The ball is in America's court. India has a bilateral trade agreement already in place with the United Kingdom. It's in the works with the European Union. Bilateral trade agreements and free trade agreements in the works with the Gulf countries, with several countries in other parts of the world, integrating closely with ASEAN. So if you integrating also with South American countries. So if you notice overall, apart from BRICS and SEO, bilateral trade agreements and multilateral trade agreements, India is moving forward at a very rapid pace. Wanted to move as rapidly with the United States of America, but the ball is in their court. But multilaterally, if you see, India is integrating itself very effectively to the world to ensure that our economy continues to grow, to enable us to become the third largest economy between 2027 and 2030, and amongst the largest economies in the world in the next 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely, Gaurav. And if you talk about the bilateral between India and Russia today, can Modi and Putin, chart out a stronger roadmap for defense and energy cooperation, and how significant will be that given the current situation?
Oh, absolutely. This meeting, of course, will not be so much in depth about defense cooperation. One you meet and greet, you get to know each other better, you interact with each other better, you review the progress of various measures that you've already undertaken. But when he comes to India later this year, President Putin is likely to be in India in December this year. That is when we expect big ticket announcements, not just on defense procurement, but India's new mantra of defense manufacturing in India, transfer of technology in India, and setting up of units in India, manufacturing units in India. That is India's big effort, and we shall see perhaps, there are a lot of works, projects in the works. Remember, Russia is the only country which has given us technology and technological cooperation and a nuclear-powered submarine. Nobody in the world has done that in the past. So do appreciate that when you boast of being able to operate a nuclear-powered submarine, that's a very big signal. And that's happened because India and Russia trust each other implicitly. INS Chakra, your own nuclear submarines, Arihant, Arighat, indigenous technology, but Russian cooperation. That's not all. The Su-30 MKIs that played a very significant role even during Operation Sindoor, Su-30 MKIs, air dominance fighters, and your BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles, a Russia-India partnership now manufactured in India and from India exported to other countries, including countries in the ASEAN region. Again, a very big partnership and a very significant partnership. So this is where India-Russia partnership has held India in good stead through the 1970s. When the American 7th Fleet came into the Indian Ocean, the Russians also had their fleet in the Indian Ocean to tell the Americans that there's a message, Russia stands with India. There was a mutual security cooperation agreement that time in place. That's point one. Point two, do keep in mind, India was able to defeat Pakistan, split Pakistan into two. Bangladesh was born, but subsequently, India-Russia cooperation, even when you look at the Kargil War of 1999, the T-90 tanks that India now has, the T-90 tanks, some were removed from Russian inventory and sent to India. That's held India in good stead. So Russia-India partnership is something that's held India in great stead. And perhaps this partnership, from oil to defense to strategic cooperation to exploration of oil to technology. Recently when I was reporting from Russia, Russia wanted more cooperation not just in the field of IT but also in healthcare and medicine, and not just allopathic medicine, but there was exploration of whether Ayurvedic medicine and Indian traditional medicines can play a bigger role in Russia, and especially in the Russian Far East. Oil exploration, joint exploration of oil, many aspects and layers of this partnership that are being explored and being taken forward right now.